If you feel like your home might be a bit boring or you simply want some quality of life improvements, these are 12 things every gentleman needs in his house. Item number 1, a bar cart. Now this is probably one of the most useful items on this list, especially if you're one who often entertains, who often has people over, friends, family, and you want to make a lasting impression or to simply bring the whole evening to another level. And even if you're a lone wolf or an introvert and you don't have that many friends, you don't have that many people over, a bar cart still is not only a very aesthetic piece that you can have in your house, but it's also something that will help you when you come home from work, tired, and you want to pour yourself a glass of whiskey, for example. Now, I am not condoning alcoholism here, and if you don't drink at all, that's perfectly fine. But I think a glass of whiskey per week, for example, won't hurt anyone. And not only this, but a bar cart will also help with your mixology skill, which, in my opinion, and according to surveys online, is among one of the most attractive skills that a man can have. Just knowing how to mix some basic cocktails such as the old-fashioned, the vodka martini, or the Vesper can go a long way in your social and dating life. As for how you want to decorate your bar cart and what drinks you want to add to it, that's totally up to you. Maybe you're more of a vodka man. For example, I prefer gin and whiskey, but I also like cognac and rum every now and then. As you can see from my bar cart, I chose to go with a more vintage-inspired aesthetic, adding certain items such as this Curating, which I put frizz that I use in my cocktails, or certain books that I've read, or other decorations such as this spyglass or pipe. And you get bonus points if you manage to get a globe bar. Now, I couldn't get one because it doesn't match the aesthetic of my apartment at all, but the globe bar is such an amazing classic item that will simply stand out and be a statement piece in your home. Item number 2, a record player. In a generation full of chunky noise-cancelling headphones and loud portable speakers, why not take a step back and get yourself a record player and a collection of vinyls? Sure, it may be a bit more expensive in the long run, but it's definitely something that will make you enjoy music more. And it goes without saying that most people would agree that nothing sounds better than an actual vinyl player, as in the quality of the music. This can be used for so many occasions. For example, once again, as with a bar card, you can use it when you're entertaining. This would be a great conversation piece, but you can also use it by yourself. If you just want to relax after a long day of work, just push your feet up on an armchair and read a good book while some old jazz plays on the record player. Or perhaps you want to have a cozy Sunday morning, get ready in a softer way than during the week when you're very rushed, so you just play Frank Sinatra's In the Wee Small Hours. Now that is an experience that you will treasure much more than simply putting on Spotify. It really goes without saying that you can have an entire corner of your house dedicated to it. Now, I don't really have a corner, but I do have an area dedicated to my record player, where I have my vinyls, where I have my record player, where I have some other pieces that complement the aesthetic, and where I enjoy my records. Some of my favorite albums are once again Frank Sinatra's In the Wee Small Hours, as well as the soundtrack of the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. Item number 3, a watch collection. Now, in my previous video, I have mentioned that I personally prefer Swiss-made watches, and people have lost their minds. Let me be clear once again, this is my own personal opinion. There's nothing wrong with having a Japanese, Chinese, or German watch. Go ahead. But here on this channel, I'm giving my own opinions. Here in your watch collection, the watches that you're going to display in your house, there's 2 things that are most important. First of all, that you have a collection to be proud of. Here, it really doesn't matter if you just have Rolexes, Omegas, Cartiers, Audemars Piguets, or even Tissot's. It matters that each of your watches has a certain sentimental value and tells a certain story. Also, nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a timepiece. A watch that you can pass on to your children, to your grandchildren, to your grandchildren. This IWC watch I got from my great-grandfather, and it's a watch that's been in my family for about 100 years now. And I was so happy to receive it. So start a collection of timeless pieces that will be just as valuable or even more valuable 100 years from now, and that you can pass on to the next generations. Item number 4, meaningful wall decorations. This is probably the most affordable item on the entire list. It's so cheap to buy a frame for a picture, and then to just print that picture, it's even cheaper. But in the words of Robert Frost, that has made all the difference. Trust me, my apartment used to look so bare and so empty before I installed my my posters, nowadays, they represent myself, you know? But a gentleman needs to express himself, his individuality, his taste, and his ability to curate beauty. For example, fellow YouTuber James from Gen Z has a couple of Bauhaus posters in his apartment, and they're very nice, I'm not gonna argue with that, but they're simply not me. I personally prefer to have vintage black and white posters of my favorite characters, actors, celebrities from the days past. It's simply more in my style. And that's what the posters should do for you as well. They should represent you, what you're passionate about, and simply the way you are on the inside. I have 3 posters so far, one of Frank Sinatra, one of Roger Moore, and one of Sean Connery in Goldfinger, my favorite James Bond movie. But I do have space for one more. And I would love to see in the comments what you would suggest that I add there. What poster would work the best that's missing from my current collection? Item number 5, a powerful home library. Reading has the power to open and develop a man's mind. It's one of my favorite pastime activities and something that has helped me so much in developing myself, my character, as well as my general knowledge. This is truly the least superficial point on this list. And definitely you can have a large wooden dark academia inspired bookshelf in your house or an entire library if you can afford it. But that's really not the point here, because with books, the content matters a lot more than the outside. The books that you have read, the books that you will read, as well as the books that you have stored in your house, in your library, say so much about you as a person. Some of my favorite books that I have ever read are Donna Tartt's The Secret History, George Orwell's 1984, as well as Mario Puzo's The Godfather. What are your favorite books? What are the books that you have read and loved? And what are the books that you are still to read but are really looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. Item number 6, an intentional wardrobe. Once again, like the previous point, this is not about the aesthetic of your wardrobe. It's not about how your wardrobe looks on the outside. And if you are interested in building an aesthetic wardrobe, Sven Raphael Schneider from the Gentleman's Gazette has made an incredible video about how he decorated his own home wardrobe that I really recommend you to watch. But here I'm more so talking about the actual items that reside in your wardrobe. And I'm not going to spend too much time discussing this point because my whole channel is about this point after all. But you should start with the essentials. As for what furniture your wardrobe should contain, well, that's pretty simple actually. You do require hangers, a mirror, a coat stand for your hats and for your coats, an umbrella support, and maybe even a valet. Item number 7, a conversation piece. Now, a gentleman's apartment should be intriguing and definitely not boring. And this conversation piece that I'm discussing about here, it's not something that has to be expensive necessarily, and it's not something that has to be super big. It can be something very small but significant, something that most people don't have in their apartment, and something that when you have guests over, they're gonna look at it and they're gonna be like, wow, what's that? And while you could just go with a random piece of art that you think looks nice, I would highly encourage you to go for something that screams you. And I will really let you get creative with this one, but some ideas that I've had for my future house include a marble chess set for my living room coffee table, a collection of watch or car magazines, something very masculine and something that you do see in quite a few places and apartments, as well as my own current conversation piece, the UCS Millennium Falcon. Now you probably don't know this about me, but I am a huge Star Wars nerd. I love Star Wars. So this is something I've wanted my entire childhood, and I finally got it with my first salary. Item number 8, a proper desk. Now a gentleman's work and a gentleman's purpose is probably the most important thing that he will ever do in his life. Sure, you can enjoy reading, you can enjoy going to the gym, and you can enjoy taking a walk or playing tennis. But your work is much more important than that. Your purpose is much more important than that. And I want you to have a full hardwood desk with drawers, comfortable chair, stationery, the whole shebang. And I know I am not currently setting the best example, but a dark hardwood desk simply would not have matched anything in my apartment. The next house I will be moving into will definitely have it. And the desk is the best place to do your work, obviously, but also to do other things such as journal. I love to journal almost every day. I haven't done it for a while, I will admit it. But it's so important to note down what you're grateful for and the memories you've made every single day. Because trust me, in a few years from now, you're not going to remember them. Item number 9, hobby corner. Women absolutely love men who are passionate, who have hobbies, activities that they like to do in the free time, and not who just sit around and do nothing all day. And this, once again, it doesn't have to be an actual corner, but coincidentally for me it is. This is my hobby corner. I have my guitars here, my piano, and even an easel that I've only used about 2 times. At the beginning of this year, I told myself I'm gonna learn how to paint, but after painting twice, I realized, okay, I'm not enjoying the process at all, so it's not for me. So that unfinished painting has been there for almost a year at this point. And if you are like me, you might just pick up a bunch of random hobbies. Some of them stick for a while. I've been playing the piano for 10 years, the guitars also, but some of them might simply be fleeting. In order to find out what you're actually passionate about, you do need to try out different things. Item number 10, a shoe collection. If you admire certain figures such as Cary Grant, Humphrey Bogart, or Sean Connery, you probably want to walk a mile in their shoes. If you're watching my channel, you are probably interested in classic menswear. And what that means is that the sneaker collection simply won't do. You want a collection of classic leather dress shoes. And it really doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to have 100 pairs of shoes, but it has to be practical. You need to always be able to have the proper shoes for your outfit. Now, if you're interested in exactly what shoes you should get and what shoes should belong in any gentleman's wardrobe, then I did make this video for you that I think would really help you out. But what you do need to know about a shoe collection specifically are 2 things. 1, always using shoe trees, quality shoe trees. This will extend the life of your shoes for much longer. And also, to the same extent, taking care of your shoes and constantly maintaining them with stuff such as the Saphir Renovateur. Item number 11, a proper china set. Now, this might be a bit out of a left field, and perhaps you haven't seen this one coming. But trust me, making a whole tradition, an event, out of something like the 5 o'clock tea is something that can change your life. I try as much as possible to always have 5 o'clock tea. After work, after I close my work laptop, I simply pour myself a cup of Earl Grey and enjoy it while reading with a couple of biscuits. And sure, you could use normal mugs for this, but using proper china elevates the experience. It's simply affordable luxury that will make you feel like you're enjoying high tea at the Ritz in London. And if you want my personal recommendation for my favorite tea, it's gotta be the Earl Grey, the classic Earl Grey from Fortnum and Mason. Item number 12, a proper shaving kit. And what I mean by a proper shaving kit is having everything from a double-edged safety razor, one of those buckets, I'm not exactly sure what they're called, where you put your foam, the foam itself, as well as the brush. And if you want, you can also get the stand. Now this, once again, just like with the tea, is something that you can make a ritual out of. I do not shave every day. Now, I've let it grow for a few days because of a photo shoot that I had to do with a brand. But I usually shave once every 2 days. And I think that's fine for most people. And sure, you could go with an electric razor if you want. But the whole ritual and the whole experience is so much better using a double-edged safety razor. It makes you feel like a gentleman of old, if you know what I mean. And once you have your dream apartment that has all the items that I've mentioned in this list, it's time for you to start learning how to actually romanticize your life and enjoy and be grateful for every single moment. And I have the perfect video for you right here.